All right. Hello and welcome to another edition of Mind the Mind. Yeah, we're excited about this particular edition because it not only marks, the end of this quarter, it ends and sits nicely at the end of the first half of 2024. How cool and how awesome is that? And I think that God deserves amazing thanks for every single edition that we've had so far on Mind the Mind. This is the 17th edition, by the way. Yay! It means that we've been going strong and strong and strong. And we owe that to no one except God. We've had amazing speakers, amazing sharers, amazing, fathers and mothers, amazing tribe members that have come here to share on this very platform. And we're grateful that you're here. We're also grateful that we're all here to witness this particular edition. So this is me saying, welcome to Mind the Mind 17. Thank you all for joining. And we'll kick off in a minute because we know that we have just about 1 hour to do this. And we earlier before the recording started, we had some music playing, and that the title of that music was Unstoppable by Sia. We didn't want to, put it in the recording because we have no rights, to that song. However, the lyrics just, drums home so much, force and so much energy, positively though, to let us know that we're unstoppable. Whatever it is that we've find our hands to do, we should keep doing it, keep forging ahead, keep doing all that we need to do to move forward. And so on this note, we kick off with our slides. I'm going to start sharing in a second. I'm going to start sharing. Good. So just a moment. Yeah. Do the slideshow. That's it. So we have our slides right here. And it says, mind the mind, minding your atmosphere. Thank you again for joining. And we hope that more people will join us soon and also will be able to, see this recording much more later as we go on. So what do we mean by minding your atmosphere? Before we dig in, we're going to do, as our custom demands, we'll do our little icebreaker. And for this one, I need your support as well, because we're all going to be checking in. It's like you're checking into this nice atmosphere, of this quarter's edition. You are checking into this program with the emoji that best feels or that best dictates what you're feeling right now. So if you're feeling happy, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling moody, if you're whatever feeling your whatever emotion that you have right now, just go to the chat room and drop the emoji that best suits your mood at the moment. Yeah, because we have to be minding our atmosphere, and that starts from right now. I'm trying to see if we can, let me minimize the screen share so that I can see the chat room. Yes, I can see one nice smiley emoji already. Yeah, it shows that you're happy. And you know what this emoji means also deeply for me? It's a joyful one. It's a joyful one. And when you have that smile, that toothy smile, the one that has your mouth wide open like that, that emoji means that it doesn't mean the lack or the absence of fear or the absence of issues or challenges. It just means that you have chosen to be happy. Thank you so much for sharing that one. I'm still waiting for more check-ins. I'm still waiting for more check-ins on this side. I'm trying to see if I can check in on the chat as well. Let me see. Okay, so I have another one. Hey, with the sunglasses. Like, give them. What exactly can the devil do about it? Nothing. So you give them that cool poise, That is not like you're not, just like we explained earlier. It's not, I'm sure that with this emoji with that glasses on, you're ready to take on the world. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. And I see another emoji with the nice smile that is not so toothy, but it's just like a chilling kind of smile, like that. And it shows that, okay, maybe you're just wondering what are we going to talk about, and what is all this checking in about. So I'm trying to look for one emoji that best describes my own emotion right now. And that emoji is also this. I'm looking for that mixture, that one with mixture of both smiling and not so smiling. If there's anyone like that, I'm gonna put it right here. So I'm putting in my own emoji with that upside down smile. Yeah. So for me, that upside down smile means that that smile there shows that I'm very and super grateful. However, I still have my heads up, maybe in so many things. And this is me just being vulnerable with you all, and trusting God that maybe by the time we finish this minding our atmosphere, my emoji's head will turn up straight. Yeah, so it's just me, checking in with that emoji, not just trying to be funny, but just, being vulnerable with the tribe and letting us know that it's okay. It's okay to still be grateful, yeah, and also still feel maybe overwhelmed a bit, in so many things. And it's okay if you feel that way as well. It's okay to know when we on in the tribe we say it's okay not to feel okay. So at the moment when you feel that you're feeling that you're not so okay, that it's also fine, because that's the reality of what you're feeling. However, we know that the true reality of our feeling should not just be defined on what we feel around us. It should be dependent on what God says, about us. And so on that note, we look at the next slide. Thank you all for checking in, for that icebreaker session. So we look at the next slide, and it talks about minding the definition. I looked at the dictionary definition of atmosphere, and I took, that screenshot out of that dictionary page, and it talks about an encompassing tone or mood of a place, a situation, or a creative work. So it's not just the atmospheric condition like we know about geography. We're not talking about maybe the weather. We're not talking about, just, the way the weather is set up in a location. No, we're talking about the ambience of a place. We're talking about the aura. We're talking about the mood, the air, the feel, the character, the tone, the overtone, even the undertone of a place. We're talking about the spirit, the quality, the aspect. There's so much more that atmosphere can mean, beyond, what geography talks about. We're talking about how you feel where you are right now. And so when we talk about just climate, we're not talking about, just the geographical climate. We're talking about what is it that is happening where you are right now. All over the world, we know that there's so much challenges going on in Europe, in Africa, in England, everywhere in the world. In Asia, there's so many, so much going on, all over the world. But where you are, how can you mind your atmosphere? We're done with this icebreaker, and so we move to the value of your aura. Okay, so we explored that definition of atmosphere, so that when we talk about aura, we know that we're still talking about the same thing. We're talking about, the same thing. Aura is synonymous to atmosphere. And I'm taking a cue from this very profound myth that I was gracious to my husband for thank you, Timmy, shouting out to you for helping me break down, that atmosphere when we got discussing, some weeks or some days back, he mentioned that they say that there's a saying that blood is thicker than water, but he thinks that your mental health and your atmosphere is thicker than blood. For me, that was very profound. And I said, oh, thank you, sir. This must go in my slide. Like you knew because at that point I was, thinking through the value of your aura. What is the value of your aura? The value of your aura is thicker, much more thicker than blood. The value of your aura is thicker than, we're not talking about just blood in its volumes, in the basic liters of blood, right? We're talking about even your atmosphere is thicker than the people around you, than the people you call, family. So it goes to say that if we say that blood is thicker than water, we're still talking about the value of your aura. Stay with me. We also must know that if you have a situation where the people you call your blood are like your very own triggers to negative feelings or negative atmosphere, then you should know that you need to choose your mental health over that thickness of the blood. Because at that point, you may need to, I'm not saying that you should cut off from your family. No, I'm not saying you should cut off from your children. I'm not saying you should cut off from your spouse. What we're saying that is that at that moment, when you need to choose, your aura, choose your mental health. Because we know, even not just by our own knowing, we know that God desires for us to be in health, even as our soul prospers. That's his word saying that he wishes above all things that we prosper all round, that we have that capacity to flourish in our health. And our health is not just your physical health. Your health is also your mental health. And that's why this all mind, the mind, hangout is set up. So we know without a shadow of doubt that even though we say that blood is thicker than water, your mental health and the atmosphere around you, your very own aura, is thicker than blood. So at a point in time, if you find out that you're just swamped, you're overwhelmed with the people that you call blood or the people that you call family in whatever strata, and when we say blood or family or tribe now, we're not talking about, people that are connected to you biologically alone. We talk about people whom you care for, that you show love for. At every point in time, you find yourself, having to choose having to choose between your blood and your mental health. This is me letting you know that at the point where it matters, you've got to choose your mental health and then find that harmony to be able to be in sync. You don't have to be in a situation where you're drowned, you're swamped, you feel so immersed with so much longings. We are in a season all over the world where the economies may not be looking so good, but we know that we don't dwell just on the economy of the world around us. Our sufficiency is of God. Yes, however, we need to choose ourselves. We need to choose ourselves first. Choose your sanity, choose your mental health. And that is the real value of your aura. So, and then the reason why I'm sharing this is because most of us at every point in time, we feel that, oh, we just need to settle some things. We need to settle some people so that they will let us rest. The truth is that whatever settlements means to you, you need to choose yourself first. You need to choose yourself first after you choose God. And after you choose, even if you know, we have a situation, we've seen situations where you're even submerged, even under the very weight of the people that you say that you care for. At that point, you don't want to now die and become useless to the world, even though you are heaven's gain, yes, but you don't want to now, cave in when it's not your time yet, under the load of responsibility. Choose yourself first and find some time to breathe. That is the value of your aura. there are some factors that are found out that may affect the atmosphere and the aura that you're in. These are proven factors over time, and it is depicted in these three, like in this Venn diagram. We see that intersection, between your biological, your social and environmental, and the psychological factors. So we say the biopsychosocial factors, yeah. So that's how we call it in mental health. So it's a mixture of the biological, the social, environmental factors, and the psychological factors. If you look deeply in this Venn diagram, under the biological factors, you see where your physical health, the chemistry of your brain, your neurochemistry, you see about the metabolic disorders, everything and how it relates to the stress, your different, illnesses that people have. That's the comorbidity, the effects of drugs, diet or lifestyle, effects of, response to reward or response to the emotions, that triggers us in the biological, circle. And then we see how it intersects with the school, your work, your academics, your social economic status, your family, your culture, your peer group, and the interpersonal relationships or the issues that you face. The real life issues like trauma, like grief, so many things that you have had to, go through in your life. And then it fuses nicely into the psychological aspects with your perceptions, how you feel per time, your temperament, your social skills, your coping skills, your self-esteem, your attitudes and beliefs. At the very center of the intersection of this Venn diagram, you see your mental health is very key, because there's no mental health without your social and environmental health, without your biological and physical health, and without your psychological health. If any of these other parts are missing, it's still going to affect your mental health drastically. And we don't want that. That's why we talked, earlier about the value of your aura. So when you have these factors in mind, and inside all of these factors, we know that your spirituality also, is embedded right in that mental health bit. How connected are you, with your God? How connected are you, with your creator? How connected are you with the things that make you happy, that centers around humanity? How connected are you, so that your mental health can be rich and full? When we talk about minding your atmosphere, nothing happens outside the joy, that I'm trying to hide this floating panel. Yeah. So nothing happens outside the joy giver. That's the number one factor, that I've, decided to share with you. I know that we know that already. This is just a reminder to some of us. Nothing happens. There's nothing that you have that has not been given to you by God, and is the joy giver. We cannot stress that enough. It cuts across every religion. It cuts across every tribe. So it's not us preaching religion here. We're talking deeply about your spirituality from whatever background you're coming from. Create a conducive atmosphere for your prayers, for your meditation, for your service to God and humanity. If you say that you serve God and you do not have the capacity to serve humanity in one form or the other, then it means that your atmosphere or your aura is as good as being bland, like tasteless, because there's no how, the heavens can touch the earth without the human element. There's no how. There's no how you can say, oh, you want to, go deeper in your spirituality, and you lack the capacity, to touch humanity positively. There's no how. Just make sure that how do you create that conducive atmosphere? That's why we talked about your prayers, we talked about your meditation, we talked about your service to God and humanity. And we're looking deeply about decluttering your environment. You have to declutter. Decluttering starts also from you. It can even start from your phone. We say that all the time. We share that with ourselves all the time. You can start your decluttering from your phone, housekeeping, on your phone. It's called housekeeping, where you look at your phone, remove every email that is not supposed to be there, or remove every contact that is not giving you the positive vibe that you need. This is not for you to be selfish, because you know that as you try to declutter and take out some contacts, maybe that you find that have been very negative for you, some other people are decluttering and removing you if you do not make sense in their lives. So just know that decluttering is a double-edged sword. So as you do that, you also do that. So if what you need to do is you find out that, oh, you check out your contact and you find out that, oh, there's maybe some people have been reaching out to you more than you have been reaching out to them. And I'm not talking about reaching out to zap you or like do like vampire effect for you. No, I'm talking about maybe you have not even been there. Maybe you have not even connected well, because there's no how you can live or survive in your atmosphere if you do not have good people around you. I'm not talking about the fact that you have to have volumes and volumes of people or people you call friends. No, I'm talking about you having quality relationships. Maybe some people to you have been very good, and they've been the ones just reaching out and reaching out, and you have been the one, giving them that vibe of vampire effect. Maybe you have been the one just, being in their space, but you have not taken time to reach out back to just say hello. You may want to start by doing that today. So it's part of decluttering. And physical decluttering also has to do with your environment. There are so many things that we hoard. We don't know that hoarding itself is excessive hoarding, is a mental health issue. When you hoard and hoard so much, you see this one, oh, it looks good on me, you buy it. You see that one, it looks good on me, you buy it. Oh, it looks good in this space, you buy it. And at every point in time, you find out that you have amassed so much things that you do not even need. It is time to declutter. Once your environment, was your house is breathing fresh air. Some of us know that underneath one table or underneath that staircase or in that basement, you have so many things that you do not need. It is time to declutter. What it does for you, it helps you to free your atmosphere. It helps you to literally free your aura so that you breathe in better, fresh air. It may be time for you to plant something green. It may be time for you to put a green plant on your work desk so that you can have the air around you purified. It may be time for you to just place a green plant in your surrounding or in your home and then declutter. Some of us have not put away, maybe summer, winter clothes already, wherever you may be. It may be time to put those away and bring in the summer clothes. It may be time to give out, from what you have. It may be time to say, oh, I love these two things, enough, but I can do with just one. Let me give out to someone who doesn't have. So that's what declutter means. And it helps you to be clean. And I'm not talking cleanliness in the arbitrary sense of the word. I'm talking about real cleanliness where your atmosphere, your environment is clean. Some of us may need to remodel or restructure our spaces. Some of us may need to do some painting. Some of us may need to just do some planting or gardening. I've mentioned that earlier. Some of us may need to see to it that you breathe in fresh air wherever you are. You may want to invest in very good oils, very good, fragrances, very good, natural elements that will give room for laughter. That's the next point. You need to give room for laughter. Don't let gloom hang over your head too much that even when you're overwhelmed, you don't know how to snap out from it. When earlier in this program, when we're talking about checking in with the emoji that best suits us, I checked in with an emoji, yeah, an upside down emoji that was smiling, which depicted my mood as being a bit overwhelmed with so many things that I need to do, that there are some things that I'm, on my checklist that I need to do, but I've not found time to do it. However, I'm still grateful in there. It's okay if you feel overwhelmed at times. It's just, finding that time to give room for laughter. You may want to even laugh at yourself, for being so clumsy, and then take the step to get up and do the right things. Find room for laughter. If you have to listen to comedy, if you have to, just play some very good comedies, and then you'll be able to get that laughter in. If you may have to just, listen to your children talk and let them share jokes with you, or just listen to children bantering, and then you'll be able to see a room for laughing with them. No, don't just be so hard on yourself that you can't even laugh at the simplest of things anymore. You don't find things funny, you don't find anything funny, you just feel, oh, this world is very serious. You have to be really serious. Yes, we know that the world is serious, but the truth is there's no register for marking seriousness. There's no register for marking, how serious you are. We only mark how healthy your mental health is, and laughter is good medicine for the soul. You have to reframe your thoughts. We're talking minding your atmosphere. You have to reframe your thoughts to reflect positivity at every point in time. It's okay because our minds are like, free plateaus where so many things, so many thoughts can play. Our minds are like breathing grounds for different thoughts. And it's okay if you have one stray negative thought coming at every point in time. What you do at that point is to rephrase it. Don't say, oh, I have this negative thought, and then you sit on it, you dwell on it, and then you chew on it until the negative thoughts becomes reality. No, at the point where you have that thought coming in, if it's just make sure that you throw it out immediately. And how can you replace and reframe those thoughts? Is by reframing it even to a positive one. You know that people say, oh, I remember at some point in time, someone I was mentioning at work that, oh, I really need to take time to rest. And then someone just said loosely, oh, you mean resting in peace? And I immediately threw out that thought and threw out, politely told that person off that I'm not talking about dying or resting in peace like you put it. I'm talking about finding time to rest. And I immediately told the person off that I'm not going to die, but to live long and well, in good health and in sound mind. And he said, oh, it was just a joke. Even in the joke, you cannot be an example for rubbish. Even in the joke, even in the example, you should not be caught, in on the wrong side. So you reframe thoughts, rephrase everything that wants to come around you to reflect positivity always. Remove every electronic from your bedroom. Control your social media and gadget use. This is very key. I remember that during the week, my family, we were talking about, oh, where do we go to rest this season? And then we checked out someone's post online, and we found out that, oh, there's even such a place like a reset cabin, in the vicinity where we are, somewhere where there's no access to gadgets, somewhere where you can just go. You drop your gadget. It's not like they don't have internet, but you choose to drop your gadget, lock it up in a lockbox. You have the key. However, you have that power to also tell the cabin, crew, the people there, to say, in case of emergency, reach out to my family, or if anyone calls and it looks very, let the person know that I'm in a place of reset. There are such places wherever you may need to find in what location that you are. Even for you, it may just be a retreat to somewhere. For you, it may be a staycation, to somewhere peaceful, somewhere where you can at least be free of gadgets or every social media element hanging around, where you can be free of every negative news at some point in time. Some of us are like, we are the assistants of what is happening right now. We have notifications that will tell us all the negative things that are happening in the world. While it will make you, it's a double-edged sword here. While it will make you current, you also need to know that you may add, you give yourself permission to stay off those for a while. Give yourself permission to have that social media fast for a while so that you can truly, truly rest. Aromatherapy is also good. That's using scents and nice natural oils, sweet smelling fragrances to create a calming atmosphere, you may want to light a nice and fragrance candle. You may want to put on, maybe a nice diffuser that will help create that calm atmosphere. Lavender is a very good one. And you may want to try it because it gives you, it not just boosts your endorphin level. It just helps you, have that calming effect, so that you have that, calming effect that it will just release some level of dopamine in your atmosphere. And then you're calm, you're happy at that point. So consider adding some plants to your home. We mentioned that earlier. And consider adding some calming decor. We mentioned that earlier. Let in some natural light. Don't just be like up in a dark room every time. Let in some natural light. I know that in some parts of the world, it's raining really hard, this season. It's fine because, and in some other parts of the world, it's really sunny and it's so hot. But the truth is, just make sure that you find joy in every season, because those seasons will not last forever. They will come and they will go. What do you do with your rainfall at this time? What do you do with your sunshine at this time? Are you just gloomy and saying you're waiting by the windowsill and you're singing in your heart, rain, rain, go away, like that poem would say, and you're not doing anything about the drops of the rain that is coming? You're not even taking time to reflect about the torrential pour of that rain. Yes, it may make some people moody or gloomy when the rain doesn't let you have maybe the nice outdoor barbecue that you've always craved. Yes, or it may not let you go visit, how you would like to go, or you may not just make you get out of the house, as frequently as you would want. But we need to be intentional about every season that comes. And let's be grateful when we have the rain, the spring, the sunshine, for the rainy season, dry season, even a harmattan in some parts of the world, in Nigeria especially, some of us feel, oh, harmattan may be the worst season ever. But at that point, because we know that it may be dusty and all, that's the time when we should, let our faces shine. Let it be a time where you treat and pamper your skins. Let it be a time where you enjoy whatever it has to bring, and then turn it around, positively for your good. But looking quickly at the next slide, when you have that, when you are able to mind your atmosphere, the next important point is maintaining that aura, maintaining the ambience. Quickly, in case you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat room. Can drop them in the chat room. We'll pick it up, much later. Or maybe you want us to revisit something we said in some earlier slides. Please drop it in the chat room so that we don't lose track of that. So maintaining your aura, maintaining your atmosphere, your ambience is key. I wrote down these steps, not because they are the infinite steps, or maybe that's the end of those steps is just the fourth step. It's just the fourth, step. I wrote down these steps just to give us a guide and a reminder or an insight into how we can maintain the aura of positivity, the atmosphere of positivity around us. I said step 1, you cannot take out the God factor. Keep your connection with your spirituality, and we keep repeating that. We're not talking religion here. Yeah. Keep your connection with your spirituality. There's no how you can be spiritual, or you can be said to be spiritual without the elements of prayers, without the elements of gratitude and worship, without the elements of giving and service to humanity. There's no how that you can talk about spirituality and remove those bits. The second step is that you should talk to people. Is the people step. When we've talked about the God factor, we don't want to be so heavenly conscious and earthly useless. No, that is not us on the tribe. Maintaining our aura talks about, the God factor and the people factor. When you have people around you, even though we mentioned that blood is thicker than water, however, your mental health is still thicker than blood, yeah, but you still need people around you. You still need to talk to the people around you, trusted professionals, your therapist, your family, enjoy with your family and friends. Don't break off the connection. Don't break off the connection. At some point in time, you would definitely need a human around you. I say it all the time. There's no one on the face of this earth that can categorically say that, oh, I'm self-made. Oh, I'm at one point in time or the other. If you think you're self-made, whatever you think you may have passed through, if it's your childhood, somebody taught you, somebody trained you. Somebody brought you up, whether you are an orphan or you grew up in an orphanage, or whether you even have, the comfort of a family, or you think that you were picked up from the streets. That street at that point for you was your safe haven, because you could have also, perished on those streets. But the truth of the matter is we must learn that we did not just drop, out of the sky. And then we think, oh, we're self-made. Actually, you think you're self-made. Somebody, invented that bus that you rode on to where you said you wanted to go to get your business done, So you cannot say that you're totally self-made if you have to go through some human elements every single day. As we're talking using the internet, it was made, the software and all that were made by people. And so we cannot say, oh, we just gathered here. At some point in time, you did something to be able to get to where you are. Whether if you told yourself that you were self-taught in some things, somebody, built that curriculum that you read. If you homeschooled yourself, somebody created that curriculum that you were able to read from. So at the end of the day, you don't have that luxury to think that, oh, you can be by yourself, because God did not create us, just to be isolated like that. And when you need to maintain your aura, find the time to check in with your therapist, check in with trusted professionals, check in with people, your family and friends, that you can be vulnerable with. Don't bottle everything up on the inside. Don't bottle everything up on your inside. There's that bit of talking to God, yes, prayers, and there's that bit of talking to people where we need to take seriously in this world at this point in time. The third step is of maintaining your aura that I've written down here is with things, with so many creatures, with the things around you. Immerse yourself in nature. You have it already. You don't need to spend money to immerse yourself in nature. Even if it's just listening to rainfall, you could not go out. Yes, it's still nature. Just listening, telling yourself to get to that point where you are able to listen to the rain pour, to the downpour of the rain, no matter how heavy it is, or maybe if it's coming in trickles, how it's dropping. Get to that point of silence in your heart and in your spirit where you are able to listen to the chirping of birds, to the natural sounds around you, to see, the sunset, to see the sunrise, to see whatever natural thing that you have around you. It could even be the movement of ants that you may need to study and see how. I remember that place, in the scripture when it was talking about, that you should study the ants and see how they provide for themselves and see how they build colonies and see how, they do not have to do, you think that they don't do so much, but they do a lot in their own capacity. It may just be at that point where you may need to immerse yourself in the music around you, in the things that make you positively happy. We're not talking drugs. We're not talking anything that, affects your mental health negatively. We're talking about immersing yourself in things that make you positively happy. And then the fourth step, because we cannot exhaust these steps, I wrote it as rinse and repeat. Like you can keep going around that cycle and literally not exhaust it. Just do a rinse and repeat. The God factor, the people, the things around you, God factor, the people, the things around you. By the time you keep going and rinsing and repeating the steps, you find out that you're much, much better for it at the end of the day. You maintain your aura not just by doing the things that you like to do alone. You maintain your aura by listening to the pain of other people as well. Maybe in listening to the pain of others, you are able to also give from your heart. You are able to also help other people who may not even know that the aura in which they are in is negative for them. You may want to just listen and not be quick to give advices, or not to quickly give people ABC steps of doing this and that. No, it may just be you listening to your child, you listening to your staff, you listening to your spouse, listening to everyone around you, listening to your family, listening. Just pick somebody up out of the blues. Yes, let them say, oh, you remembered us today. Stay there and let them wonder, oh, is this person calling for something else? And let them truly know. Make sure that in that instance, you don't go asking them and then they'll be like, oh, that's exactly why you called. Let them know that you genuinely care. Let them know. It may just be time for you to call up that brother or that sister of yours or that friend of yours or that family member of yours that you've not heard their voices in a long time. Fine. We know that some of us say when in the economies of the world, everywhere in the world that you find yourself now, it's even hard for you to call up people and say, how are you? Some people say the next thing you will hear is you will see bills, bills, bills. Let them even list the bills. And then if you do not genuinely have, you can now say, I am calling you just to check up on you. That person, even though you may not be able to provide a solution to their problem, but they will know at the back of their hearts that you called them and you genuinely were concerned for them. Dropping them, an emoji, dropping them a goofy, maybe a goofy video or something very nice to make their day, or maybe a prayer, or maybe something from your heart. Even if it's just a voice note, you are quick to go on your way. You're saying you promise that you're going to call someone back, and you know you will never get to call him back. Why not quickly drop a voice note so that the person can even be able to play whenever they miss your voice? And then they know that, oh, until next time when you reach out to them, that will also keep them going. Don't let's forget that. You cannot, maintain your aura without doing this rinse and repeat part. And we live in a world that may be evil, yes, that may be devilish, yes, that may seem, like nothing good is coming up. But I tell you, everything cannot be going wrong at the same time. There are some things that are still working. And that brings us to the concluding slide of living, loving, laughing, and learning. We have to put that learning bit, because in living, in loving, in laughing, you must learn, new things every single time that you learn to live. What you may just learn per time is that when you wake up, you should learn to be grateful at that point, because you may not wake up. There's no guarantee that you will sleep or wake up, if not for the grace of God that gives us that guarantee. There is no human guarantee. Somebody during the course of the week was saying to me how they had lost their loved one, and the person was just waiting for the loved one to come out of the toilet. And it was just a case of the children knocking on the door. Dad, dad, come out, we need to use the toilet. And their dad has been in there for a while. Only God knows how long he has been in there. And they thought maybe he was just doing a number two. However, they found out that it took much more time and there was no response. And they had to go through the window and found out that he had already gone on the toilet seat. And they found out that it was a cardiac arrest, someone that did not have any medical issue diagnosed at any point in time. So it helps us to, is even as much as that may be like a not so good news, but when you deeply reflect, you know that it's not guaranteed. You go to your toilet, you do your business, you come out. and you forget to say thank you to God. You forget to be grateful, that you are able to walk yourself there. And if you find out that, or you may be listening maybe much later to this recording, and you find out that, okay, you are even sick, or maybe you're bedridden or whatever, and you cannot even do the things, the fact that you're still living, whether you're living on oxygen or whatever it is, or whatever situation or state that you may find yourself, because there is still life, there is still hope to live. That is a learning from living. And then try as much as possible to love and give love. Some of us, we can give love, but we find it hard to receive love. We find it hard to receive love to the point that even when we are neck deep in situations, we can't even find time to call or reach out or delegate and say, see, I cannot do this at this time. They don't mark registers for overworking in the Japanese, term of karoshi, meaning overworking till death. They don't mark registers for participating in karoshi, working yourself to death. No, you only mark, the registers for living and for loving. The people that you have loved, the people that you're loving, the people that have loved you, find time to love. Find time to love. Even if love has betrayed you several times, still find some time to love. Because the truth of the matter is, when you give love, it comes back to you. Maybe not in the same, dimension that you gave it, but it may just be, in another dimension at some point in time when you do not think that you deserve it. Find time to live every single day. Don't be too busy with your routines that you forget to live. Find time to love. Find time to laugh. We cannot overemphasize that. Find time to do all of these things and more. And in living, in loving, in laughing, and in learning, you learn new things every time. You may have been traumatized, you may have been injured, you may have been wounded, you may have been bullied, you may have everything looking like it's not working. But when you look deep down, when you look long enough, you will see a reason to be grateful. You will see a reason to live. You will see a reason to love. You will see a reason to laugh. And you will see a reason to learn. We live in a world where daily, rates of suicides globally is just on the uprise. We live in a place where daily, diagnosis of one evil sickness or the other is on the rise. We live in a situation whereby even the very air that we breathe in may no longer be pure. But you should be grateful that the one that you still breathe in is pure. Pure in its purest form. You're able to talk, you're able to live, you're able to breathe, whether you're doing it mechanically or naturally. The fact that you're still able to do it, it is still worth giving God thanks for. And I'm saying that I know to someone, maybe not on this call, but maybe someone that will listen to this broadcast much, much later, you would find that joy in living, that you will find that love and the reason to laugh again, that you will find the peace to learn and reflect from every single thing around you. You will take the time out, with your family and consciously mind your atmosphere. Nobody should bring you negativity around you and you let it stay. No, it does not happen that way. When examples are done and people say, oh, maybe for example, something will just happen, just rebuke it at that point and know that even in the very example, you cannot be poor. In the very example, you cannot be termed as masses. Even in the example, you don't say, oh, we poor masses. No, you don't follow people to say that. And even if you know that you're in a place where the economy is so bad, you don't follow to say, oh, nothing can even go right anymore. You speak positivity at every point in time. Say what you want to see, even in the face of the toughest of situations. Make sure that you speak positively, you affirm positively, and you do the right things. Take steps towards your positive vibe and make sure that you surround yourself with people who will let you live, people who will let you love, people who will let you laugh, and people who you would learn from at every point in time so that you will stay healthy and positive in your mindset. And that is the end of our slides. So we got these amazing references that you may want to check out later. And then we've got any questions at all. Any question at all. Any question at all. Earlier in the week, someone sent me a question while I'm waiting for questions in the chat room. And I'm going to share, that question with an answer to it. Feel free if you have any other answer, maybe that you need to prefer to that person, because the person may also be, listening or may listen to that broadcast later to hear what we have to share. So if you have maybe any other suggestion, the question goes like this. It says, how do you maintain your positive aura when everyone around you seems to be negative? How do you maintain your positive aura when everyone around you seems to be negative? We've talked about maintaining, your aura by thinking about the God factor, thinking about the people around you, and thinking about, the things around you, and doing a rinse and repeat. Yeah. But that person is concerned about that people factor in there. When the people around you are the negative ones, and we say that we should, maintain our aura by also considering the people around us. How do you maintain your aura with the negative people? I would say that at that point, I would go back to that myth that my dear husband debunked, in a earlier, in the week, or was it last week, where he talked about, even though we hear blood is thicker than water, your mental health is thicker than blood. I need you to hold on to that and run with it, like your life depends so much on it. Even though you have people around you that are supposed to be tribe members and blood, and you find out that they are zapping you dry, or mentally, spiritually, financially, academically, in every wise possible. At that point, make sure that you choose yourself. You may want to detach for a while, from them. There's no, crime in detaching from your source of negativity at that time. For there's no crime in detaching. And this question comes, pops up in my head also as like an adjunct to that question. If someone has asked me before, if you find out that maybe it's even your children, that, or maybe your spouse, that is the trigger to your negative feeling. Maybe they give you so much stress. Ask yourself, what exactly is it that makes you make them give you stress? Is it the fact that maybe you are also not joyful? The aura that you also bring, because at times, if you bring a negative aura, it's a give and receive thing. Whatever you bring on the table is what you're going to be served with. Do you also exude joy? There's this scripture that comes to mind where it talks about he who has friends must show himself friendly. Are you friendly enough for people to also give you back, the good vibes of friendship? That's also a second part answer to that question. If you find time to detach, and you can't detach, maybe from your very immediate family, and you think that they are the triggers to your mental health going down, yeah, try as much as possible to, at that instance, you can communicate and say, these are the things that you do that I do not really like or fancy, and let them know how it affects you. And you may also have a sit down, have a meeting. In my home, we have meetings every time. We have like conferences where we call ourselves, together. We have our periodic family meetings with agenda and everything. Don't have a meeting without an agenda. We have room for emergency meetings when it's not time for the regular, family check-in. If anything happens, there's a sit down where all of us will be able to live, laugh, love, and learn. Do you have that structure in place? You may want to have that structure in place so that you are sure that you are going to get the right positive vibe and the energy that you need per time, per season, for you to be able to thrive in your mental health at every point in time. Does anyone want to, chip into that question to help that person quickly before we move on? Quickly before we move on, we have just 3 minutes to the end of this call. And if we do not have any more questions, I'd like to leave you with this. Every point in time, when you go out, when you come in, try as much as possible to check in with the audience, check and, gauge the ambience that you're in right now. Nothing must just happen around you without you first getting, an inkling of what is to come. Don't just walk out of your house without you having, I'll call it like a spiritual antenna, where you are able to decipher what is in that room at this moment. And even when you feel that your spiritual antenna may not be sharpened enough, you know what to do. You go back to our rinse and repeat steps. Find your connectivity with your spirituality. Find the connectivity with the people that you love around you. And find the connectivity with the atmosphere, with the things that bring you joy, the nature and every natural thing around you. Find your connectivity and then do a rinse and repeat of what you need to do per time. And lastly, make sure that you document. You can do your journaling, say your affirmations, do everything that you can to live in a very balanced atmosphere or in a very harmonious atmosphere. If you can't find the right work-life balance, find that right harmony. Even though it may tilt a bit more to one side, find that harmony where you have the time to really, really rest, and it will be good for your soul. Thank you, everyone. We have come to the end of this edition of Mind the Mind 17, Minding Your Atmosphere. We hope that we've had, that time to be able to connect and mind our atmosphere. And feel free to please subscribe, to my YouTube channel at Olurunke Oluwalere, and feel free to drop me, comments, because we're going to be posting, this recording there. Feel free to find yourself going back to that video and learning all over again and reminding yourself all over again if you have to do so at every point in time. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. God bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and have a wonderful, next quarter of the year. See you at the end of the next quarter. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Let me stop sharing. Now stop the recording now.